It is Thursday, the 17th of April, 2025 at Protestia Studios. This is an intelligence briefing coming to you from Protestia.com, where, as always, to find the latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. Sign up for the Insurgency email blast and support us by becoming a Protestia insider over at patreon.com/Protestia. We have one headline for this intelligence briefing, but it is a doozy. Let's get into it. Headline at Protestia.com, pastor says that Jesus was performing a, quote, drag show on Palm Sunday. Jubilee Episcopal Church is a, quote, colorful, warm, multi-generational new congregation rooted in North Austin, Texas. Of course, it's in Austin, Texas. Led by the Reverend Lizzie McManus Dale. Why do they always have hyphenated last names? This is something that, is an interesting thing to explore potentially. She is a self-proclaimed, quote, second-generation clergywoman, and specifically a clergywoman mama who, quote, delights in talking about motherhood, pregnancy, and reproductive justice from this lens of faith and leadership in the church. We should put church in scare quotes because this place is clearly no such thing. We've mentioned her previously after she claimed she loves the Feast of the Presentation in Luke 2 because it, quote, centers the postpartum experience, and after she celebrated receiving merch for, quote, Pride Eucharist. I wish I was making this stuff up, honestly. In her recent sermon, Lizzie insisted that Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem on a donkey was a, quote, drag show, which he was participating in to joyously, quote, defy empire. Let's listen in.
Jesus' triumphant drag queen entry into Jerusalem is doomed. Much of fascism is a bluff. Look at our loyal cult. Listen to our outrageous language. Heed our threats of violence. We are inevitable.
I have no idea what she's talking about.
It's a ridiculous mirage of might that is made up to make us feel small. And in the face of this, Jesus laughs. Because that is what Palm Sunday is. It is a total drag show of a military parade. Homespun and homemade with the symbol.
Hang on a second. First of all, the triumphal entry was not a military parade. Let's not be stupid. I mean, she's going to be stupid, right? She's going to pull stuff out of context, make things up on the fly to try to make her idiotic and sinful and decrepit and heretical point here. But yeah, the triumphal entry was not a military parade.
Simple things that people simply had on hand. Jesus didn't need shiny armor or powerful horses, or lions in chains. Because Jesus is the Lion of Judah, and Jesus, in this moment, is doing a drag show. Not to, quote myself, but I do talk about this in my book, and I have a chapter called...
Oh, good. A whole book of idiotic heresy. Yeah, we'll be quick to read that, I'm sure, Lizzie.
Messiah that I want to read from. Drag is a performance art form that takes the bizarre and the banal to an extreme, holding up a mirror to our lives so we can find humor and release in the silliness of being alive. Drag queens use bold makeup and exaggerate.
Notice what she says. We can find release. That's pretty much always what these kind of gender-bending, false religious things are all about, is pleasuring ourselves, right? Giving into the desires of the flesh, centering it around our wants and our needs. And read through Romans 1. This is entirely what leads to this kind of depraved behavior. The elevation and worship of the self rather than God.
Exaggerated dance moves to illumine the ludicrous beauty standards and at the same time uplift what is beautiful in the mundane reality of life. Drag is an art form that is rooted in protest, in unraveling gender roles, and in unspooling militaristic masculinity through femininity.
Yeah, unraveling gender roles, right? So unraveling what God has set up, what God has designed, what he's ordained from the creation of mankind. Again, we're back to worshiping ourselves, worshiping individual, worshiping man, worshiping the creation rather than the creator by undoing what the creator has set up.
femininity. As drag artist Sasha Velour says, the art of drag is able to create something new in the mixing of seeming opposites. Drag uses artifice to show us what is artificial about power in our world.
Artificial, huh? What God has set up is artificial, according to these people. Which would make perfect sense. They don't know God. They're not worshiping God. They're worshiping a God of their own invention.
Laughs at the power in this world for its ludicrous need to perform power in order to be powerful. Y'all tracking with me? Drag also laughs at the power in this world for its ludicrous need to perform power in order to be powerful. And Jesus is doing that. He's just laughing in the face of the empire. And here's the thing. This empire is going to kill Jesus. Because of this parade, because of this laughter, because of this mockery, because of this resistance.
More heresy, right? More heresy. We all heard that, right? The heresy of saying this empire is going to kill Jesus, as if Jesus didn't sacrifice himself, as if he wasn't God in the flesh and in complete sovereignty over what was going on. The left always does this, right? The godless left always does this. They always reduce Jesus to being just some mildly exalted human being that wound up getting on the wrong side of the authorities and power. This is so that they can cast the gospel, the real reason Jesus came, as some sort of social justice, social gospel kind of a thing. That's what they do.
Is about to die. We do this day, this Palm Sunday, a disservice. We do Holy Week a disservice when we see this as doomed. When we see that Jesus' triumphant drag queen entry into Jerusalem is doomed. Yes, he's going to be killed. That's real. But he's also not going to stay dead. And
yeah, the mischaracterization of the reason that Jesus came, and nobody who's an actual Christian, and this place is a goat farm, obviously, not full of Christians at all, but nobody who's an actual Christian ever looks at the triumphal entry of Christ or his death on the cross as some sort of doom and gloom. Nobody believes that. So it's a straw man she's throwing up here in order to shovel in her false Christ, her false gospel, and just pervert and make disgusting the entire earthly ministry of Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, hopefully you were able to tolerate that without throwing up a little bit in your mouth. Thank you for joining me for this intelligence briefing for the 17th of April, 2025. Stay tuned to Protestive.com for all your latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. By the way, join us tonight on the Insider Roundtable. If you're not already a patron supporter and insider, you can join now. Get the link to the Insider Roundtable tonight, 6:15 Mountain Time. We will be talking religious liberty. The link will be in Patreon for insider supporters. Thank you so much. See you real soon. As always, Semper Reformanda.